Hello, this is John Paval with Access Arts Live and this week's roundup of orchestral and big stage productions. The week of March 10th to 17th, 2025. And we have a crowded schedule of them. Before I go any further, remember, if you're watching this on Facebook, like the video. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe. If you're watching us on our other platforms, don't just like the video, subscribe to us or follow us on X, TikTok, Instagram, or Threads. So let's get to you can see the picture I have up beside me. There's so many things going on here. There's a sort of Balkan jazz folk group that's going to be joining one of the German orchestras this week. There's Nina Stemma, who's like an operatic star soprano, who'll be singing this week. There's the guy who played the piano in the rain during the French Olympic Games with the tens or hundreds of millions of people watching. He's performing this week too. So we've got a lot of great stuff lined up for you. And let me get right to it because we have 10 different concerts for me to tell you about and try to do it in a reasonable period of time. Okay, let's go. Former Dudemo fellow Chloe von Söderstedt guest conducts the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra Wednesday, March 12th, with former Wigmore artist in residence Pavel Kolesnikov playing Beethoven's Piano Concerto No. 4, among other things. That will be on Wednesday, March 12th, 7:30 UK time, 8:30 in the evening, Central European time, and only 5 hours before that on the East Coast, which in the US, which has now gone on daylight savings time. So 3:30 in the afternoon on the East Coast and 12:30 lunchtime on the West Coast. The program is Brahms' Tragic Overture, Opus 81, and then Beethoven's Piano Concerto No. 4, when Kolesnikov gets to show what he can do, and then Schumann's Symphony No. 2, Opus 61. This is all 19th century music. Kolesnikov was artist in residence at Wigmore a few years ago in 2021, but he's done recitals there at Carnegie Hall, Berlin's Konzerthaus, the Louvre, the Salle Gaveau in Paris, the Suntory Hall in Tokyo. You name it, he's been there. He's a real rising star. Now, as for Söderstedt, I'm just so happy. This is another one of these Dudemel fellows. She was a Dudemel fellow with the LA Phil in the 21-22 season. Before that, she was an Alsop fellow, which is who are picked up by Marin Alsop in 2019-21. So she's moved up in the ranks, and she's now as of this year, she's the principal guest conductor of the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra. So this should be a good concert. And did I remember to put up a separate picture of them? No, of course I didn't, because I don't do everything right. How can I do everything right? I have a younger brother. I keep telling him, when you make mistakes, I make mistakes every day. Okay, here's the next thing up that I want to tell you about. Look, here's a way you can make sure your children are learning about classical music at home. The Detroit Symphony Orchestra's live stream of The Gold Rush, an American musical adventure, a classroom live stream, Thursday morning, March 13th, Eastern Daylight Time. They do these on a regular basis. I don't think it's live streamed on YouTube, as far as I can tell. It will be live streamed, though, on the Detroit Symphony Orchestra website, and we give you the link to get to it. It's recommended for students in 3rd through 8th grade. I think that's like from 8 years old or 8 or 9 years. Yeah, something like 8 years old until 12. And then we move on. We got to keep these moving along, folks, because there's more and more to tell you about. And this one, I know there are fans out there who will love this one. Okay, I just know it. That's Nina Stemma. Fans of opera star soprano Nina Stemma have a chance to enjoy her singing Mahler's songs on the death of children in the Royal Stockholm Phil's live stream Thursday, March 13th. Oh, is that going to be a sad concert? It's Ryan Bancroft, a terrific, dynamic guy who runs the Royal Stockholm Phil now. And it's a sad program. They'll start out with a piece called Demon, which was co-commissioned by the Royal Stockholm Phil and the Birmingham Symphony Orchestra back in 2023. It's by British-American composer Freya Whaley Cohen. And she based it on folk tales from the British Isles, these terrible stories where demons pop up. So that doesn't sound like a lot of fun. Then they do Mahler's Kindertotenlieder about the death of children. And a few years later, Mahler's eldest daughter died as though that were a premonition. And it's all about the parents' grieving process. Jeez. And then after that, they do Nielsen Symphony No. 4, which was called the Inextinguishable Symphony. In Danish, the Udslukelige. Udslukelige. It just can't, it was written in the middle of the First World War. So it's, that's what's inextinguishable, the slaughter. Wow. Anyway, Nina Stemme needs no introduction for people who know opera. She's sung it all with everybody since 1989 when she made her debut as Cherubina in Cortona, Italy. And if you don't know her, well, this is your chance to get to know her. I think we'll give you the link to her website for those of you who don't know her. But this is an opportunity for opera lovers to hear a great opera singer singing some very lovely, if very sad songs. And Ryan Bancroft, I'm sure, is going to do a great job with the Nielsen. So we then move along from Nina Stemme to the next piece that we have for you, and this will be just a half an hour later than that concert. Probably screwed up. The Royal Stockholm Phil's concerts are always at 7 in the evening, which will European time, which means that it'll be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the East Coast and 11 in the morning on the West Coast. But then 25 minutes later, and this happens all the time, then the Bergen Philharmonic chimes in. The Bergen Phil Youth Orchestra live streams their rendition of Beethoven's Fifth on Thursday, March 13th, with the double bass prodigy Mick Young-sung tackling Bottesini's Concerto No. 2. And that's a picture of Mick Young-sung there. I don't know what to tell you about the youth orchestra. It's a good youth orchestra, but the interesting thing is this piece by Bottesini, Giovanni Bottesini, is Concerto No. 2 for double bass and orchestra. This doesn't get played all the time, although this concerto is the one of his that gets played the most often. And he became a double bass player by accident almost. He was playing the violin, but then an opening opened at the school in Milan where he wanted to go. They had an opening for someone to study the double bass, so he learned how to play the double bass in a couple weeks' time, and this is what came out of it. Now, Mick Young-sung, although she's young, and this is the youth choir, she's from South Korea, but then she studied at the Colburn School in Los Angeles, where she really started breaking through. She has in 2018, 2019, she was already the principal bassist with the Shanghai Symphony Orchestra and the Shanghai Orchestra, and she was teaching at the Shanghai Orchestra Academy. So she's nobody to sneeze at. And if you'd like to hear the unusual phenomenon of a double bass concerto played by a very talented young up-and-coming bassist, well, this is your cup of tea. That will be at 7:25 European time in the evening, or 2:25 in the afternoon on the East Coast, or 11:25 in the morning on the West Coast. And both the Stockholm Phil and the Norwegian Orchestra, and also Helsinki, it's the same way. They don't go on YouTube. You've got to go to their websites. They keep control of what they're doing, which is very Nordic of them. Vikings don't share. So let's move on to the next item on the menu for this week. Moving right along. I don't have a lot to say about this next item, but enough to say that you can if it's what you love, this is something you can tune into free of charge. The Hannover Philharmonic live streams Brahms and Tschaikowsky for all you lovers of romance music on Thursday, March 13th at 8 in the evening European time. So if the earlier live streams that evening, the Stockholm Phil doesn't tempt you, or the Bergen Phil doesn't tempt you, you've got the Hannover Phil to fall back on. They'll do Brahms's Violin Concerto in D major, Opus 77, composed in 1878, and Tchaikovsky's Suite Number 3 in G major, Opus 55, composed about 6 years later in 1884. And the soloist, the violinist, is Gil Shaham. And there you have a picture of him right there. I don't have a lot more to tell you about this one, but if you like that kind of Brahms and Tchaikovsky music, well, these are two lovely pieces by these composers, and Gil Shaham is will know how to play his part. I have a feeling that I'm rushing terribly today, but the timing as it's going along is excellent, so I really can't complain. You can drop me a note, and any of you who are following it. I do know that we do have some people watching, and let me know. I'd always love to get comments while we're live streaming. So, yeah, that's a photo there of Alexandra Kantorov. Remember that terrific pianist playing Ravel's Jeu d'eau in the rain during the opening show of the Paris Olympics? Well, Alexandra Kantorov plays again for you in the Cologne Philharmonic's free live stream on Friday, March 14th. That's the guy. That's him in the picture. And, Jeu d'eau means the play of the waters or the fountain. So he's there on a bridge over the Seine. The water's underneath him. The water's coming down. He's playing about music. Hundreds of millions of people are watching. And all I can think is, do we have to throw in Olympic Games in order to get 100 million people to watch a live stream? That's how ambitious Access Arts Live is. Anyway, so let me tell you a little bit more about this guy. Have to make one technical correction there. Now that's on its way. This will be at 8 o'clock Friday evening, 3 in the afternoon on the East Coast, and noon, lunchtime on the West Coast. It's free of charge on YouTube. The concert is called On the River, Liszt and the Rhineland, because it's very Germanic. They'll start out with the Faust Overture by Richard Wagner, which is not heard all that often. And if you're a Wagner lover, that's reason enough to tune into this live stream. Then Kantorov will play the Franz Liszt Concerto No. 2 in A major. And then after the break, they come back and do Schumann's Symphony No. 3 in E flat major, Opus 97, the Rhenish or Rhenish Symphony. So this is a very Germanic sort of concert, except Alexandra Kantorov is more French. He was the first Frenchman to win first prize gold medal and grand prize at the International Tschaikowsky competition in 2019. The thing is, he's doing a residency this year with the Elbphilharmonic in Hamburg. But the first thing he did when he started the residency was play with the Munich Phil, and now he's playing with the Cologne Phil. So I haven't seen or heard him playing with the Elbphilharmonie yet. Maybe they just haven't live streamed him, but I do think that's somewhat curious. Anyway, this is sure to be a lovely concert, especially if you love these composers. And at the same time as that concert is going on, with the Cologne Phil, you have the Cologne Funkhausorchester, also known as the WDR Orchestra, going on. And they've invited in this somewhat wild band called Uwaga! Exclamation point. The WDR Funkhausorchester, aka the Cologne Pops, brings in a very exuberant band called Uwaga to update the history of music from Monteverdi to Michael Jackson. Live streaming Friday, March 14th at 8 in the evening German time. That'll be 3 in the afternoon on the East Coast and noon on the West Coast. So this will be at the same time as the Cologne Philharmonic proper, and live streaming with Alexander Kontarov. So you have a choice to make here. Maybe you don't want something that heavy. The conductor is David Brophy. They're doing, it's a long list of pieces they're doing. They start out doing pieces by Monteverdi, Bach, Mozart, and Mendelssohn and Beethoven, but then somehow adapted to contemporary songs. For instance, they'll be doing a Mozart, what they call a Mozart Bob Marley piece, reggae violin concerto after Mozart's violin concerto in G, Crucial 216, and the song No Woman, No Cry, arranged by Maurice Mahler and Christian Delacker. And they're doing that kind of thing with other pieces, with a piece by Bach, etc. And then after the pause, they come back and they do more of that, but they'll be finishing up with some with Blackbird by Lennon-McCartney and Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal. That's what that is. The band, Waga, is 4 guys, a classical violinist, a jazz violinist, a drummer, and an accordionist, and they play classical, jazz, Balkan, and pop music. So it'll be, a lively, festive evening, and there you see them on a bridge. That's those guys. If you want something really upbeat, that's it. I call them the Köln Pops. Is what they'd be called if they were in the U.S. It's the light orchestra. We still have a ways to go, though, to get through all of this week's live streams. This next one. The Southern Hemisphere is coming back to life. Okay, because their summer is started coming to an end, so they're ramping up again. The Sao Paulo Orchestra opens its 2025 season, bringing in South African soprano Masabane Rangwanasha to sing Strauss's 4 last songs, along with Mahler's Symphony No. 5, Friday, March 14th, 8 o'clock Brazilian time. Also referred to as OCESP, the abbreviation for the complicated name of the Sao Paulo Orchestra. Anyway, they'll be doing a piece called Crucifixus by Lati from 1717. Then they'll do Strauss's 4 last songs. Those were composed in 1948. People forget how recent Strauss was, at least I do. That's Opus 150, and then they'll finish up with Mahler's Symphony No. 5 in C-sharp minor, which was composed in 1902. Masabane Cecilia Rangwanasha, who you see there in the photo, she is now, since 2021, she's in the ensemble of the Bern Staatsoper, where she gets rave reviews. If you look up her website, you'll find that they just love her there. I think she got that job. She won the award of BBC Cardiff Singer of the World in 2021, and in that same year, she became a member of the Bern Staatsoper ensemble. So that should be a good concert for you. Those are both Southern Hemispheres. South Africa and South America. So they're both coming into the end of summer, sort of their equivalent of, I guess, autumn season. Yeah. Okay, I think we have just like 2 more to tell you about. Oh, they're having a good time. Saturday, March 15th, it's the Cincinnati Symphony's turn to live stream a very American classical roots concert, celebrating African American heritage and classical music with inspirational song, dance, and more, just bursting out on stage all over the place. These things are just joyous celebrations. They bring in community choir. They're bringing in a tap dancer. the Black Theater Company Liturgical Dancers, the Ijo Ugo West African Performing Arts Revolution Dance Theater, etc. So this is really the occasion when the African American community can let loose, and they'll start out doing Lift Every Voice and Sing, and they'll do Pharrell Williams' Happy. They tell us they're doing Beethoven's Give Me a Fifth of Funk. I'm not sure what that will mean. They'll be stomping at the Savoy, etc. It's just a rousing good time. Last week, the Detroit Symphony Orchestra did that, and this week it's the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra. So have at it. If you just want to have a good time Saturday night, you can have a good time. Let me make sure I give you, speaking of time, give you the time for that concert. I have to scroll up to it. It's at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is 4:30 on the West Coast, and a little after midnight, half past midnight in Europe, and 10:30 in the morning, Sunday morning, Australian Eastern Daylight Time, if you really want to wake up Sunday morning down there in Australia. So there you have it. And we're on to the last of this week's crowded schedule of live streams. How about that? With an economy of time, I must say. And wow. Pianist prodigy Sergei Davidchenko will be fully flaunting his pride by playing not one but two concertos, Tchaikovsky and Rachmaninoff, in the Moscow Phil's live stream of the Novaya Rossiya State Symphony on Sunday, March 15th. That will be at 7 in the evening Moscow time, 5 in the evening in Europe, noon on the East Coast, and 9 in the morning on the West Coast Sunday morning. The conductor is Alexei Rubin. They're doing Tchaikovsky's Concerto No. 3 for piano and orchestra, E flat major, Opus 75 and 79. And then the introduction to the opera The Queen of Spades, Opus 68 by Tchaikovsky. And then they come back and do Rachmaninoff's Concerto No. 3 for piano and orchestra in D minor, Opus 30. And Davidchenko's playing both of them, I gather, because they don't have a second pianist mentioned. He won the Tchaikovsky competition, got the gold medal at the 17th Tchaikovsky competition in June of 2023, and he's won several other contests in and around Moscow. He has a page on the Mariinsky Theater website, so he's valued. He's performed at Mariinsky, in the Great Hall of the Moscow Conservatory, at the Tchaikovsky Concert Hall. He's with the St. Petersburg Philharmonic, and with a bunch of Russian orchestras. So he's, the phrase comes from the American poet Vachel Lindsay: "Let not young souls be smothered out before they do quaint deeds and fully flaunt their pride." He's flaunting his pride. And I say, good for him. I think it's great when people flaunt their pride. Young artists especially, or younger artists, but everybody's younger than me by this point in time. Anyway, let me remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, click the like button on the video and we'll invite you to follow us. If you're watching us on YouTube, click on subscribe. And if you're watching us on any of our other 4 platforms, don't just like the video, like us. Follow or subscribe to Access Arts Live on X, TikTok, Instagram, or Threads. And in return, I promise we will get you the live links to more than 1,000 live performances online in 2025. We're already well on the way to doing so. So I hope that one more or any of these live streams this week inspires you, uplifts you, or just shows you a heck of a good time. And before I finish, I want to mention to you that we've been getting a lot of help in digging up what's out there to tell you about from a blog called My Love for Music. And we will put at the end of the list of all of these concerts and links, we will give you the link for my Love for Music schedule. And if you want to look further in advance than this coming week, you can go there and you can, she's got stuff planned out, or recorded all the way ahead till the month of June, if you really want to plan out your viewing schedule far in advance. And God bless her for helping us out so much. Ciao for now. I'll be back tomorrow and the next day with our roundup of organ recitals and our roundup of chamber music this week.